Well, the Lal Street closed Friday on a somber note. However, the Nifty and the Sensex gained for the second straight week for the first time in 2 months. Now, in this week's edition of the Editor's Roundtable, we put the spotlight on mid-cap IT's performance. We take stock of key budget expectations. We also understand the big railway opportunity for India. I'm Sonia. I have with me Prashant, Nimesh and Reema. So I was like choking on, on the fact that in less than 10 days you have the budget coming up. There's so much earnings hitting you. You're bound to choke, guys.
Sonia, by the way, has a interesting day lined up, right? Full of partying, etc. Right?
I will party with a Reliance PNL, and Reema is going to be, partying with me, and the Geo numbers.
What time is it expected, though? I mean,
7:40. Historically, it's come at 7:40.
That's early, no? That's
Say the Friday
will never stay back.
Friday, exactly.
But you know, the week was such where I was just looking at the stats, right?
Yeah.
Nifty flat, mid-caps flat. Non-index flat. I think the only thing that performed was IT, a tad bit because of good earnings. So it was one of those weeks where you want to call it perhaps the lull before the storm, you never know. But I guess all eyes will be on the budget and the big earnings.
And the earnings, right? I mean, the earnings this week kind of did not leave a good taste in the mouth because, I mean, earnings were more downgrades than upgrades. I'll just quickly present a couple of things which I think is important to note as we kickstart the show. The Nifty still, by the way, is battling that range, same range, 400 points, the downside about 17,800 to about 18,200 on the upside. And it's been that way for 3 weeks, all 3 weeks of 2023 so far. On the downside, I mean, the 17,800 broadly, that level is important. I could get specific. The numbers will come up on your screen. We've been highlighting that. The December swing low, it's not been broken, thankfully. So maybe we sort of escape without further pressure, further cuts. Earnings is what I think is important to note. Consumer companies and so-called growth stocks, and I'll put out a piece later, they are seeing earnings downgrades coming through. I mean, over the last 48 hours, companies like Asian Paints, Havells, HUL for that matter, PVR, I would rate LTT as L&T Technology Services as a growth stock. You're seeing more downgrades than upgrades. I mean, actually, you would be hard-pressed to find where there are upgrades, meaningful upgrades at that, at all, anywhere in terms of the earnings stack that we've got this week so far. I think the baton in that sense of earnings once again falls on banking and financial services companies. Over the weekend, ICICI and Kotak will report. So we'll see if that can do something for the market. HDFC Bank could not, but ICICI and Kotak will report. That'll be important. Reliance, as we were discussing, is important. Last quarter, we saw a bit of a pause, but will we see a resumption of the quarter-on-quarter earnings growth for Reliance this time around? I think that's a big stock. 12% weight in the index could move things around. Lastly, from the global arena, it's mixed. I mean, it's not really giving a clear picture. But mind you, the S&P 500, the benchmark there, is at an important juncture. It's basically once again testing the downward sloping trend line all the way from the January 2021 all-time high, which is held through this year. Every time it goes to that level, we see a 7, 8, 10% kind of a pullback. 2 days in a row, the S&P pulled back. I mean, not much, by about 1.5%, 2% in aggregate. Is this the start of a fresh downtrend? Or, I mean, this time we finally take that out. I think those are bigger questions too. Keep your eye out on. Sonia.
I don't know if you guys feel that way, but, there's this very tight range, right? Between 17,800 to 18,300. There seems to be no major cue which could take the market out of that range. And we have Pratik Agarwal joining us